I am 92 years old, and for the last 60 years, I have been the architect of my own prison. I am not a victim of circumstance. I didn't lose my family in a war. I didn't outlive my friends by accident. I outlived them by design. I pushed them away with both hands, chest out, chin high, telling myself that I was independent, that I was self-sufficient. Now, look at my hands. Look at them. The skin is like parchment paper, translucent, bruised purple just from bumping against the table edge. They are shaking, not from fear. Not yet. They shake because they have nothing to hold. People ask me how I live alone at this age without going mad. How I sit in this chair, staring at the dust motes, dancing in the shaft of light, cutting through the blinds, and don't scream. They think I have a secret. They think I've found some monk like Zen state, some holy detachment. I have, but it didn't come from meditation. It came from burning my life down. I have 3 secrets, 3 hard, jagged truths that keep me company in the dark. But before I give them to you, you have to understand something. You have to understand that the peace I have now, it is the peace of a battlefield after the war is already lost. There is a ceramic bowl on my kitchen counter. It's blue, chipped at the rim. It holds my car keys to a book I haven't driven in 4 years. Every time I walk past that bowl, I have the urge to smash it, just to hear a sound that I didn't make, just to change the physics of this room. But I don't. I wash it. I dry it. I put the keys back, because that is the discipline. That is the first step. You think you are building an empire of solitude. You think you are protecting your energy. I did too. Let me tell you about the cage I built. It was beautiful. Truly. It was gold-plated. When I was 30, 40, even 50, I was addicted to peace. At least, that's what I called it. I told myself that other people were chaos, that relationships were just friction, noise, compromise. I looked at my friends, men who were married, men who had children screaming in the back seat of their station wagons, men who had to ask permission to buy a set of golf clubs, and I felt superior. My stomach would turn when I saw them, not with pity, but with a cold, sharp arrogance. I thought they were trapped. I thought they were slaves to biology. I was the free man. I had the apartment with the white carpets. I had the silence. I had the money. I rationalized it perfectly. I told myself, I am focused on my legacy. I am a man of substance who doesn't need validation. Lies. All of it. I remember a specific Tuesday, November 1978. I was 45. I was sitting in my study. The air smelled of lemon polish and expensive, stale pipe tobacco. I had a heavy oak desk, the kind that takes 4 men to move. It was my fortress. The phone rang. It was a rotary phone back then, black, heavy bake light. It rang, and the sound was like a drill going into my temple. It was a woman I had been seeing. She wasn't asking for marriage. She wasn't asking for money. She just wanted to come over. She wanted to bring dinner. She said she found a recipe for pot roast she wanted to try. And my chest tightened. My throat closed up. Not because I didn't like her, but because she threatened my routine. She threatened the perfect, sterile geometry of my evening. I wanted to read my book. I wanted to drink my scotch without having to ask someone if they were thirsty. So I told her I was busy. I lied. I said I had work. I hung up that heavy black receiver. Click. I sat there in the silence, and I felt a rush, a physical rush of dopamine. It felt like victory. I had defended my borders. I had kept the invader out. I ate a sandwich over the sink that night, alone. The bread was dry, the ham was cold, but it tasted like freedom, or so I thought. I have a ledger, a small, leather-bound notebook from that year. I found it yesterday in a box in the attic. I used to track my expenses, my meetings, my wins. I opened it to that date, November 14th, 1978. There is nothing written there, just a blank white line. I traded a human being. I traded the warmth of another body in the room for a blank line in a notebook. I did that 1,000 times, 1,000 Tuesdays, 1,000 rejected invitations, 1,000 unreturned calls. I built a museum of myself, and I was the only visitor. The walls held up for a long time, decades. You can live on ego for a long while. It burns hot. It keeps you warm. You look in the mirror at 60, at 70, and you see a man who has figured it out. You see a man with no wrinkles from worry, no scars from fighting for someone else. But the bill comes due. It always comes due. For me, the shattering didn't happen with a bang. It wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't a bankruptcy. It happened on a Tuesday morning. I was 82. I was in the kitchen making toast, the same routine I'd had for 30 years. 2 slices of sourdough, butter, strawberry jam. I dropped the jar. It was a simple thing. My grip just gave out. The jar hit the linoleum floor. Glass everywhere. Sticky red jam splattered across the white cabinets, across my slippers, across the floor. I stood there. I looked down at the mess, and I waited. I don't know what I was waiting for. Maybe I was waiting for someone to say, "Don't worry, I'll get the broom." Maybe I was waiting for someone to sigh. Maybe I was waiting for a dog to run in and try to lick it up. But there was nothing, just the hum of that refrigerator. And in that moment, the silence changed. For 50 years, the silence had felt like luxury, like velvet. Suddenly, in that second, the silence felt like water. Dark, cold, heavy water. It rushed into my ears. It filled the room. It rose past my ankles, past my knees, past my neck. I realized if I slipped on this jam and fell, if I hit my head and couldn't get up, I would die here. And no one would know. Not for days. Maybe weeks. The mailman would notice the letters piling up. That's who would find me. A stranger in a blue uniform. My knees buckled. I sank down onto the floor, right into the glass and the sticky mess. I didn't care. I sat there, an 82-year-old man in his pajamas, weeping. Not crying, weeping. The kind of sound that comes from the gut. A dry, heaving sob that hurts your ribs. I looked around my pristine kitchen. The granite countertops. The high-end appliances. The spotless windows. It wasn't a home. It was a mausoleum. And I was the corpse. I just hadn't stopped breathing yet. That was the day the independent man died. That was the day the ghost of my future finally caught up to me and grabbed me by the throat. I sat on that floor for an hour, maybe 2, and I performed an autopsy on my life. I cut open the chest cavity of my past to see what had actually killed me. Why? Why had I done it? It wasn't because I was introverted. It wasn't because I was ambitious. It was cowardice. Pure, unadulterated cowardice. I was terrified of being known. See, if you let people in, they see the cracks. They see that you aren't as smart as you pretend to be. They see that you're insecure about your receding hairline. They see that you chew with your mouth open sometimes. They see the ugly parts, and they might leave. So, to ensure nobody would ever leave me, I made sure nobody ever arrived. I looked down on my brother. My younger brother, heavy rest his soul. He was a mess. He was married 3 times. He had debts. He drove a rusted out Ford that rattled when he idled. His house was always loud. Kids screaming, dogs barking, the TV blaring. I used to visit him once a year, sit on his stained sofa, and think, thank God I'm not him. But sitting on my kitchen floor, surrounded by broken glass, I realized something. When he died, the hospital waiting room was standing room only. There were ex-wives weeping. There were children holding hands. There were friends from the bowling league, from the bar, from the mechanic shop. He left a hole in the world, a jagged, bleeding hole that people felt. If I died right then, on that kitchen floor, I wouldn't leave a hole. I would just leave a vacancy, an empty space that could be filled by the next tenant with a coat of paint and a new rug. I wasn't a person. I was just a placeholder in space. That realization broke me, but it also woke me up. I had to learn how to live in the wreckage. I had to learn how to be alone without being that arrogant, hollow man. And that brings me to the secrets, the things that keep me from putting a gun in my mouth now that I'm 92. Secret number 1, you must kill the observer. For years, I lived my life as if an audience was watching. Even when I was alone, I posed. I acted dignified. To be not lonely, you have to stop performing. Now, I talk to myself out loud. I narrate my day. Now I am boiling the water. Now I am finding the tea. It sounds mad, but it fills the air. It acknowledges that I am here, that I am a person worthy of being spoken to, even if I am the only one speaking. I stopped trying to be the stoic elder. I started being a messy human. I eat ice cream out of the carton. I listen to music that is too loud. I stopped preserving this house for a future owner and started using it up. I scratched the table. I broke the rules. Secret number 2, the objects are alive. You see that chair, the red velvet wingback in the corner. The fabric is worn on the armrests. That isn't a chair. That is a witness. I started treating the physical world around me as my companion. I know the creak of the 3rd step on the stairs intimately. It greets me every morning. I have an old pocket knife. The blade is worn down to a nub. I sharpen it every Sunday. The act of caring for it, the friction of the stone against steel, it connects me to the physical world. When you are alone, you drift away. You become a ghost. You have to anchor yourself to matter, to wood, to steel, to fabric. Touch things. Feel the texture of the orange before you peel it. Feel the cold of the window pane. If you don't, you will dissolve. Secret number 3, you must forgive the younger fool. This is the hardest one. This is the one that makes my chest hurt right now. I spend my days with a roommate. That roommate is me. Specifically, the me from 1978. The arrogant man who hung up the phone on Sarah. For a long time, I hated him. I screamed at him in my head. You threw it all away. But living with someone you hate is hell, even if that someone is you. So I had to forgive him. I had to look at that young, scared, arrogant man and say, I know why you did it. You were trying to be safe. I forgive you. I sit here at 92 and I hold space for him. We drink tea together. I don't feel lonely because I am finally whole. I am not cut into pieces of regret and resentment. I am just here. Now, I am talking to you. Yes, you, with the earbuds in, walking your dog, or sitting on the train, or laying in bed staring at the ceiling because you can't sleep. You are doing what I did. I know you are. You are canceling plans because you're tired. You are ignoring texts because you don't have the bandwidth. You are prioritizing your goals over your people. You tell yourself you are building a future. You tell yourself that someday, when you have the money, when you have the status, when you feel ready, then you will start living. Then you will open the door. Let an old man who is closer to the grave than the cradle tell you the truth. There is no someday. There is only the Tuesday night pot roast. There is only the messy, loud, inconvenient phone call. You are building a golden cage. You are polishing the bars and calling it freedom. Stop. Pick up the phone. Call the person you have been avoiding. Say yes to the thing you don't want to do. Go to the wedding. Go to the funeral. Go to the awkward dinner party. Let people in. Let them break your things. Let them stain your carpets. Let them ruin your schedule. Because the alternative is a clean house, a perfect schedule, a balanced ledger, and a silence so loud it will crush your bones. I am 92. My tea is cold. My hands are shaking. But tonight, I will leave the light on in the hallway, just in case. Don't wait until you're me to realize that the mess is the life.